Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Janet Rogalski, and I'm very delighted to say that I'm sharing the bima with Dr. Andrew Pelletier, and we welcome you all here. We'll start with the opening song, Hine Matov, which you'll find on page 128.
Hine Matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, Hine Matov, la 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 la. Hine Matov, Hine Matov, la 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 la. Hine Matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
We bless the Shabbat this evening with the lighting of the candles. You'll find that on page 120 and 121, and I'd like to ask Ricky and Stan Rudy to join me.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tivanu le'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
You'll find Lacha Dodi on page 138.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, pinei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pinei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor vezachor b'dibur echad, Hishme'anu el ha'miyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litzhi Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekol habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila, hitodiri, Shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha uvtzola, tochem u'neham segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
Chatzi Kaddish is on page 263.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemer haba, be'alma divorach idute ve'hamlich machute, mechayechon uvyomechon uvchayete kol bet Yisrael, b'hagala u'vizman kariv v'imeru amen. Yesh merhaba mevorach le'alam ulal mehmaya yitzbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitzpah v'yitzromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadad v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemed kudesha b'richu le'elamin kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma ve'imeru amen.
Please rise for the Baruch Hu on page 264.
Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamavarim Aravim.
Ahavat olam, Bet Yisrael, Amech משפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please be seated. The Haftarah is on the next page, 268.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו נטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We read together. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol before your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai, your God. Adonai Elohim Emet. On the next page, we read responsively, we worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. When will redemption come? Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. And the next page is Micha Mocha.
Micha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar Ba'kodesh, Nodati Lot Osef Ele, Nodati Lot Osef Ele, Malchutecha Mokeh Hayam Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Zeli Anu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed V'nehemar ki fada Adonai ad Yaakov ugmelo me'ad chasak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael.
Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence, we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukkah shalom aleinu, al kol amo Yisrael, al Yerushalayim.
V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam birit olam. Beni uvel, Bnei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim
please rise for the tefillah.
Adonai, Sefatai Tiftachu fi Agit Hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Holel Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei v'Nem, L'man Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Mashiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Ata Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atarav le'hoshia, Mechacher Chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofech cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Bichamocha bad gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memis, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'neheman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol, Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. We read together at the top of page 278. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel, who sanctifies your name, may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Ikadesh HaShabbat.
Tamid avodat Israel hamecha el karov lechol kol ehav pinel havatecha תחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון.
I'm reading on page 281. The good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. The desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise the source of being. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness. You are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha ne'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim leolam, ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom, ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom, v'tom enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המפרק את עמו ישראל בשלום.
We read together on page 282. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message
to
all the peoples of the earth.
Bless
Make
our country as a safeguard, its peace, its advocate among the nations. Make contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land.
Plant virtue in every soul.
And may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart.
Praised are you,
Eternal,
Adonai, who blesses your
People
people.
with peace.
Baruch
Baruch
atah
atah
Adonai,
Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom.
Shalom. At this time in our service, we think of those in need of healing, body, mind, and spirit, whether here or elsewhere. If you have a name you'd like to share, please feel free to do so now.
Dave Saltzman, Mackenzie Bateman.
You'll find the Misha Barak on page 371.
Shabbat avotenu mekol habracha lehimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishemelach imotenu, mekol habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Take some time for silent devotion.
Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav. Oh, say shalom aleinu. Be'al kol Yisrael, be'imru amen. Uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav. Uyase shalom aleinu. Me'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru
Where you go, I will go. These words and the ones that follow may be quite familiar. They've been used as song lyrics by composers like Misha Getz, Brian and Jen Joatan, and Shoshana Jedwar. No, I've never heard of them either. But I have heard of the rest of the passage, and you have too. They're part of the most famous passage from the book of Ruth. This is Shavuot, or the Feast of Weeks. What does Ruth have to do with Shavuot? Stay tuned. Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks, celebrated 7 weeks after Passover. Since the counting of this period begins on the second evening of Passover, Shavuot takes place exactly 50 days after the first Seder. It's also referenced as Pentecost, which is the Greek word for 50. Although its origins are to be found in an ancient grain harvest festival, Shavuot has long been identified with the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. It's noteworthy that the holiday is called the time of the giving of the Torah rather than the receiving of the Torah. It's been pointed out that we are constantly in the process of receiving the Torah, that we receive it every day, but it was first given at this time. Thus, it is the giving, not the receiving, that makes this holiday significant. Shavuot contains and combines 2 major religious observations. First is the grain harvest. Remember, this whole area was agricultural, and it's that of early summer. Second, it is the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. First determines the ritual for the holiday, which was one of 3 pilgrimage festivals of ancient Israel, where Israel's men were commanded to appear before God in Jerusalem, bringing offerings of the first fruit of the harvest. Second determines the significance of the holiday for Judaism, tying it in with the seminal event of the Jewish religious memory, namely, entering into the covenant between God and Israel, exemplified by Israel's assumption of divine law. Since Shavuot is an ancient pilgrimage holiday, it's not surprising that it focuses on community. Nonetheless, there are a number of customs associated with personal practice. Chief among them, which you may or may not know, is that on Shavuot, it's the custom, not quite clear why, to become those who eat milk and other dairy products as part of the celebration of Shavuot. It has been speculated that has to do with the idea that Israel is the land of milk and honey. By associating an ancient holiday of the grain harvest with the Exodus from Egypt, Jewish tradition has imbued Shavuot with religious significance derived from the foundational event in Jewish historical consciousness. In this case, it takes the form, as I've said, of entering the covenant with Israel. So, now about Ruth. I came across a very interesting and insightful piece about Ruth written by Dr. Stuart Halpern, who is, in fact, the senior associate to the provost of Yeshiva University. He's got a lot of other titles, too. He was very much involved with everything. But I really did find this insightful, and I did primarily because it has to do with people and community and our reaction, in many cases, to things we've experienced fairly recently. No one is laughing at the UK's Minister of Loneliness now. When Tracy Couch was appointed to the position by then Prime Minister Theresa May in early 2018, more than a few snickers could be heard in the United States. They would refer to it as across the pond. U.S. Surgeon General, the former Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, published Together, documenting the early signs of an American social recession that he witnessed in his tenure from 2014 to 2017. Even prior to quarantines and social distancing, the nation's former top doctor was already lamenting the isolation felt by so many in the United States. Quote, "Overcoming loneliness and building a more connected future is an urgent mission we can and must tackle together." Even though most COVID restrictions have been lifted, and there are many people who still follow them, many people are still feeling the effects of isolation, loneliness, and other social plagues, made more intense by the pandemic we've just been through. The book of Ruth actually is one that's incredibly relevant. It's a prescription for all of us who are aching to connect with our society and with others in a world that seems to have grown more alienating. In case you haven't read the book in a while, here's a refresher. Set around 11,000 BCE, it begins during a famine, the economic recession of biblical times, and we know what the recession, or the thoughts of a recession, have done for us. An absence of a centralized and unifying political leadership forces individuals to seek their own means of survival. An Israelite couple, Elimelech and Naomi, leave their homes to seek sustenance in the neighboring nation of Moab. After settling there, Elimelech dies, as do the couple's 2 adult sons. While mourning the losses of their husbands, the sons' Moabite widows, Ruth and Oprah, later being Oprah Winfrey's actual first name, Orpah, summon the philosophical strength to salvage what they can and what remains of their future. Orpah decides to remain in Moab. Ruth offers an altruistic affirmation so lyrical it has been sung millennia later by musical luminaries like Bing Crosby, Mahalia Jackson, and Leonard Cohen. Those I know. "Whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God, my God." Having pledged allegiance to her mother-in-law, the pair travel the 50 miles to Bethlehem, literally meaning the house of bread, where food is newly available. Naomi is overwrought and do nothing upon their arrival. Ruth goes to work. She starts to glean in the fields, taking advantage of the idea that people who own fields are to leave the corners available for the poor people who need food. Eventually, Ruth's efforts are rewarded. She happens upon the field of Boaz, a distant relative of Naomi's, and they marry. Their union produces a communal restoration in the form, if you follow the genealogy, and if you really want to read the book of Ruth, it's the last chapter, it follows the genealogy all the way to King David. World history, it turns out, hinged on Ruth's decision to be faithful to Naomi. The book ends shortly after an emotionally and physically revived Naomi, the once wailing widow, now radiant with joy and exuberance, hold Ruth's and Boaz's child. According to Dr. Albert, he suggests the Almighty is rarely mentioned in this book. The story of Ruth is the most intimate human-scale domestic drama in the Bible, a book otherwise dedicated to heroic ploys of larger-than-life prophets, kings, conquerors, and all the others. The book's approachable scale is the first clue that the story it tells is one that modern readers may find particularly relatable. Look inside and you'll be shocked by how ahead of her time Ruth truly was. First of all, long before we learned to accept non-traditional families as valid and valuable, Ruth and Naomi give us a reminder that the family unit comes in all shapes and sizes. These two women, both widowed and poor, living together in a patriarchal society dominated by wealthy men, and reminding us that staying together and offering their mutual support is like what we so desperately need in many parts of our lives. Science eventually caught up with Ruth's wisdom. In recent decades, researchers have discovered how loneliness impairs judgment, increases stress, depression, and mortality rates, while friendship improves all of those things. But Ruth isn't just a paragon of making your own family, even amid devastation. She's also the embodiment of another virtue, giving, that physicians are now saying can do much to boost both emotional and physical well-being. Giving and serving others doesn't just strengthen communities. It enriches our lives and strengthens our own bonds with the community, our sense of value and purpose. Even small acts of selfless kindness, like Ruth's, is the foundation for our individual and community salvation. She also offers one more lesson. If you want it, work for it. Naomi's self-pity, while understandable, got her nowhere. Ruth's resilience got her everywhere. Our culture is quick to assign blame and claim the victimhood mantle. Ruth teaches us to forgo these tempting feelings, the harder yet ultimately more effective virtue of never, ever giving up. Work hard, believe in yourself, believe in your family, and think about Judaism's most illustrious family. Besides being Shavuot, this is the start of Memorial Day holiday. Memory, as we've talked about before, is often mentioned in Jewish tradition. Please remember and honor all those who have served and are serving, currently serving either the military in some other way to keep our country free and our country safe, as well as all those in other places who are doing the same around the world, particularly like in the Ukraine. Shabbat Shalom.
So I get to wear my board representative hat now for some announcements for this week. The Bima flowers this evening are in loving memory of Mel Nussbaum from the entire Nussbaum family, and in loving memory of wife, mother, and Nana, Patsy Kaminsky from Jeff and Tom Kaminsky and family. Mark your calendars, Friday, June 16th, 5:30 p.m., the Temple Annual Meeting in the chapel. Unless the air conditioning is still down, then we'll be in here, but hopefully by then it will be cooler. Shabbat services will take place at approximately 6:30, immediately following the annual meeting, and will be led by Rabbi Jamie Gibson and Cantor Jan. Please join us for Kiddush in the hallway following the service. We'll have an opportunity to greet each other. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. On page 586, please rise for the Aleinu.
Adonai.
get my papers straight here. Death cannot sever the connection to those we have lost. The soul is eternal. You don't have it. This is from a book by Rabbi Naomi Levy called Talking to God. Death cannot sever the connection to those we have lost. The soul is eternal and can never be extinguished. But not only the soul survives the grave, the bonds of love are stronger than death. The lessons that our loved ones taught us, their goodness, their deeds, their wisdom, will remain with us always. They have left a permanent imprint upon our souls that never can be erased. They continue to guide us wherever we go. We think this week of those whom death has claimed in recent days and weeks. Kathy Ann Schiff, Richard Adler, Priscilla Kreutzer, and Fred Burson. We think, too, of those whose yurtzites, the anniversary of whose death occurred this week, as we remember Dr. Robert L. Abrams, Linda Abrams, Albert A. Berg, Gabrielle Bessner, Helen Bielfeld, Celia Balshone Brown, Burton Califf, Marilyn Cotton, Henry J. Dersher, Tony L. Gertner, Linda Beth Bender Goldner, Esther Greenfield, Carl O. Hume, Dorothy Sklar Jalen, Patsy Kaminsky, Olga I. Klein, Sarah Leviton, Isaac Harry Linder, Melvin Nussbaum, Irma Perlman, Carolyn Reinheimer, Samuel Reinstein, Charles M. Romanoff, Samuel S. Schwab, Mary Ann Sears, Anna Stauber, Marion Stevens, Norman R. Thal, Chester Tushman, Goldie Waxman, Frida Williams, and Joseph Ziegler. Please rise for the Kaddish, which you will find on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah,
Be'alma devarach edute v'yamlich malchute, B'hayechon uv'yumechon, U'chayed kol beit Yisrael, Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha berechu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiram v'alma
Imru. Amen. Yehei
Shalom Rabba min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav uya aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
May their names be forever blessed. Let the rain come and wash away the ancient grudges, the bitter hatreds held and nurtured over generations. Let the rain wash away the memory of the hurt, neglect, and let the sun come out and fill the rainbows in the sky. Let the warmth of the sun heal us wherever we are broken. Let it burn away the fog so that we can see each other clearly, so that we can see beyond labels, beyond accents, gender, or skin color. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness so that we can share the joys and feel the sorrows of our neighbors. And let the light of the sun be so strong that we will see all people as our neighbors. Let the earth, nourished by rain, bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty. And let the mountains teach our hearts to reach upward to heaven. Amen.
Amen.
Prayer for the World by Rabbi Harold Kushner. Our closing song for the evening is on page 625, Adon Olam.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Telem Kol Yitzir Nifra Le'et Masa V'Cheptzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hove Ve'hu Yeh Betifara Ve'hu Echad Ve'en Sheni Lehamshir Lo Lehachmira Beli Reshit Beli Tachlit Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'ha'misram Ve'hu Eli Ve'chagvali Ve'tzurchem li Be'tzara Ve'hu nisi Humanos li Menat kosi Be'yom ekra Be'yado Avkidruchi Be'tishan Ve'ahira Ve'imruchi Geviati Adonai li Ve'lo ira.
Shabbat Shalom. Please join us for the Kiddush and Motzi in the hall.
Nothing needed to be transposed into some crazy key.